Joining us now, former acting Solicitor General Neal Katyal. He's an MSNBC legal analyst, and he assisted in writing the special counsel regulations when he was a staffer at the Department of Justice. Neal, you are a perfect person for this conversation right now, given your history and your expertise. So let's talk about what it means to appoint a special counsel first. Attorney General Garland said he did it because he needs to remove himself to some extent from the investigations because he was appointed by Joe Biden, who may end up running against Donald Trump after he announced his 2024 campaign this week. So what does that mean just as a sort of a practical question going forward?
Yeah, so special counsel is exactly what Robert Mueller was appointed under before. And these regulations arose at the end of the Clinton administration. There was something called the Independent Counsel Act, and that had created the power for Ken Starr to investigate Bill Clinton and Lawrence Walsh to investigate Iran-Contra. And there was a bipartisan view that that created too independent of a prosecutor. And so that law was allowed to lapse, and instead the Justice Department wrote a set of guidelines that basically said, we want someone who can be appointed who has day-to-day independence from the Attorney General, but not someone who is unaccountable at the end to the Attorney General. That is, the special counsel is to run the significant steps he or she wants to take by the Attorney General. The Attorney General can reverse, rebuke the special counsel and the like. So it's a somewhat independent prosecutor. And really what we had in mind was the fear of a government cover-up. Because attorneys general are appointed by the president, if, for example, an AG found evidence that a president was engaged in wrongdoing, he might just look the other way and not investigate. And so the special counsel was designed to try and say, no, that investigation has to proceed and through this mechanism.
So, Neal, obviously in recent years, the special counsel that most Americans are familiar with is Robert Mueller. This is going to be a pretty different process. Could you walk us through the similarities and differences between the Mueller probe and his role as special counsel and what we're going to see now?
Yeah, so Mueller and this new person, Jack Smith, are appointed under the exact same authority, but in somewhat different factual circumstances. With Mueller, the facts hadn't been uncovered yet by the Justice Department. Mueller had to hire a whole team to do all of that. Here, by contrast, particularly there's two parts of the Jack Smith's investigation. One is Mar-a-Lago, the other is January 6th. With respect to Mar-a-Lago, it sure seems like the department's very far along in their investigation, going so far as to execute search warrants at Mar-a-Lago itself. So, you know, one of the concerns you always have with the special counsel is how much delay is there going to be when you have to bring a whole new person up to speed. Here, at least with respect to Mar-a-Lago, there's probably a bundle of materials that the special counsel can just read and borrow the existing apparatus of the Justice Department, including their investigators, line prosecutors, and the like, so that you don't have to start from scratch. With January 6th, it may be a different thing. We don't really have much window into how much the Justice Department has investigated with respect to high-level wrongdoing. Well, they certainly brought over 800 prosecutions against low-level folks who've, attacked the Capitol and the like. But Jack Smith's mandate expressly says that's not what he's to focus on. He's only to focus on the higher-ups. And so it does seem like investigation there is going to have to be done, probably staff hired, and the like. So they are factually very different. I would say, I know that there are a lot of people, including a lot of our viewers, who are really upset with how the Mueller investigation turned out in the end. There were certainly a lot of successful indictments that were brought, but not against some of the main higher-ups, including Donald Trump. The fact that that didn't happen in Mueller doesn't, to me, say anything about what would happen here. These are very separate animals, and Mar-a-Lago is, in my mind, an open and shut investigation. It is, there's no doubt in my mind that if I did this or you did this, we'd be in jail right now. We certainly wouldn't get a special master or a special counsel or prosecutor or the like. It would be a very easy case. It's not that different. It's just the identity of the person, Donald Trump, that makes it different. But at the end of the day, I expect that Donald Trump will be indicted by this special counsel. And this move to appoint a special counsel, we can debate its pros and cons. I do think it's going to take a little more time than it would have otherwise. But ultimately, I think we will get to the same result when it comes to Mar-a-Lago.
So Neal, I mean, the Mar-a-Lago stuff, the national security aspect of it, you think right now. Am I correct? You think that he should already have been indicted with what we found and what we know about what happened at Mar-a-Lago with the national security aspect?
100%. This isn't like him just taking a love letter or something like that from some foreign leader with no, with no national security implications, though it looks like he did take that too. But we're talking about some of the most serious, sensitive material that the United States government has. And there's no doubt in my mind, every day of every week, anyone who did that would be prosecuted. And you need that for two reasons, that prosecution threat. One is to deter future people in the government from going and taking stuff home and showing it to other people and things like that. So you need to reassure our domestic intelligence community and deter workers. But the other is we have spies in the field who are worried right now that Trump brought this stuff home, and Lord knows who got to see it and the like. And some of these people, work for foreign governments and things like that. I think everyone needs reassurance that the government will protect the identities of these people and do everything possible to uncover what happened and to deter and prosecute anyone, whether it's a president or anyone else, who takes this material home. When you go into the government in a high-ranking position, as I did twice, you get these warnings all the time. It is more serious than church. I can't tell you how the gravity of the warnings, and to just blow them off, as the president did, is not just despicable, but it is dangerous to our national security. And that, for that reason, from the start, once this stories came out, I've had no doubt that Donald Trump will be indicted for this. There's no way to look. There's no way to look the other way.
As you say, people have gone to jail for much, much, much less than this. And even Bill Barr over the weekend conceding the DOJ has what it needs to indict Donald Trump. Former acting Solicitor General Neal Katyal, thanks so much for walking us through it. As always, we appreciate it.